Hello to anybody out there with a sibling, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be answering the question, how would I judge Drag Race Philippines Season 3? This season was something. This was a very, very entertaining season of Drag Race. It is currently the highest rated season of Drag Race of all time, which is fucking phenomenal, and it is really good. Is it my favorite? I don't know. There are other seasons I definitely have more nostalgia for. But like I've seen all but a handful of seasons of Drag Race, and they're how many seasons of Drag Race are there? They're like 60 plus or so. This is definitely a top 10. Like this is a very, very, very good season of RuPaul's Drag Race. And it sucks that my video that's happened to be delayed because life has been crazy. I've been working full time and going to school and moving, and so I have had basically no time to be working on YouTube this past week, but I finally got my stuff together. And now we're filming the video, so let's get into it, shall we? The rules to remember, as always, are the season has to be as long as Season 3 of Drag Race Philippines originally was, which is 10 episodes, and performances and challenges need to be based off of how well someone did or how people would predict they would do. So I'm not just going to put somebody in the top when they were originally in the bottom, or vice versa, unless there's strong fan support for that being the case. The goal, as always, is to act as if I am the head judge and craft this season however I can imagine to make it as fun and eventful as possible, while also being fair with my judging of the season by combining my own personal tastes and what was shown to us on the show. Before we go any further, please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this video. I always appreciate the support from you all. I love doing this for y'all. So if you give me those things, why not? Okay, in episode 1 we have ourselves the like minute-long social media dance video kind of spots happening. I decided to keep the placements for this episode pretty much exactly the same except for one little change. Originally there were 6 people in the top and 5 that were safe in this episode, but I decided to switch that up a bit. Whenever there is an episode that is like a top 2 episode where nobody's in the bottom, my kind of general ruling is I like to make, if there's an even number, let's say if it was 12, 6 would be in the top and 6 would be safe. And if there was an odd number of people like we have now with 11, 5 people would be in the top and 6 would be safe. So I decided to take one of the contestants out of the top, and I decided to take Tita Baby out of the top. Not because I thought her advert was bad at all. It just was the least memorable to me out of the ones that were originally in the top. However, the placement, though, I think is entirely correct. I completely agree. Mix, Chanel, Udipota, Maxi all being high, I completely agree with. And Kiana and Zimbading being the top 2, I mean, totally, yes. No complaints there from me. These top 2 are going to lip sync to Pwede by Meme Entrada, and Kiana definitely wins this lip sync. I mean, it's actually, they both do really well. I'm not going to say, like, absolutely wins this lip sync, but Kiana definitely does do better, I would say, than Simba. So Kiana is going to win this first episode. Nothing's really going to change here. We're kind of going through the same motions as we did originally, just without Tita Baby in the top. Now here's where our judging takes a bit of a dip and a dive. Because in this episode originally, there was no elimination. The bottom 2 were saved. But I decided to change that up a bit this episode. Here we have the Sustaina Ball episode. And I changed a lot. Originally, Mix Chanel won the challenge, and Kiana and Udipota were high, but I obviously switched that up here. I think that Kiana did the best in the challenge. I mean, I love these 2 looks from Kiana. They really stood out to me, and when I had compared all the looks to each other and ranked them, I was like, oh, Kiana is my second favorite in each category, so Kiana is getting this win here. Mix Chanel did very well as well. Mix was my second favorite of the night. But I do think Kiana did better, and it kind of leads to a very interesting start of the season where Kiana gets the wins in the first 2 episodes. Very Crystal Versace core here, which is not something I would have ever expected to do. Like, I don't know, it feels weird to give somebody the win in the first 2 episodes, but for some reason this feels really correct to me, and so I'm doing it. And Yuripoto was in the top, and I decided to not put her there, but Yuripoto still did a very good job. I think I put her as 4th for this challenge. Actually 5th after Zimba. I think Zimba did better. But Maxi was my 3rd favorite here, so Maxi is going to get that other high placement. As I already mentioned, Yuripota and Zimba Ding are safe. Don Yaga and Popstar Bench were safe originally. They're going to stay safe. And originally, Jay Quinn was safe, but I decided to move Jay Quinn to the bottom too. I did not live for either of these looks. The first one, the structure was not great, and actually for both of them, it was mainly like the structuring of the outfit that wasn't great. Like, yes, like the outfits from like Angel, for instance, they are simpler, but they fit more with her aesthetic, and I think, you know, they're more interesting to me. And like I would, you know, I'm always gonna I think I'm always going to prefer like a bodysuit with stuff attached to it than something that's just a touch more complicated, but with like a lack of like good structure. You know what I mean? I preferred Angel's looks here over Jay Quinn's. Jay Quinn is my second least favorite of the night. And so because of that, because I'm moving Jay Quinn into the bottom, Versex gets bumped up to a safe placement. And Angel gets bumped up to a low placement, and the new bottom two are Tita Baby and Jay Quinn. Now, these two are going to lip sync to Nociba Lassie by Sempogita. And originally, nobody went home, but I do think Tita Baby would definitely do better than Jay Quinn would. So I think I'm going to get rid of Jay Quinn here. Which does shake up a lot of shit for the season. Actually shakes up so fucking much, and we're gonna get to that in the future. I didn't realize my decision originally to say bye-bye to Jay Quinn was going to cause the chaos that it causes for the next, like, 5 episodes, but it does. But that's the way I feel. So we're gonna move on to episode 3. Okay, in episode 3, originally, we had ourselves the Girl Groups Challenge to Dapat Pakak. But instead, we're doing the POW Presents Plus challenge because we have 10 people, and that's how many people were needed for that challenge. So we're going to swap these two challenges in the order. Because, you know, there was an uneven number of people for the Girl Groups Challenge anyway. So I don't see the reasoning in not just, you know, doing it with 4 and 5 people instead of 5 and 6, you know? It doesn't really change much of anything. In this challenge, Versex was not here originally, and we did have Jay Quinn. So, you know, I guess for the simplest of terms, you would just input Versex into Jay Quinn's spot. But, I mean, I don't think it ultimately really matters what spots they're in. I think, you know, they all have to do their very own, like, you know, TV show kind of spots with their partners, and talk to, the celebrity guest, Milai. And I think regardless of what positions they're in, they're all gonna do about the same. So, you know, you can say like, oh, this person would be here and blah 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 blah, but like, you know, it doesn't really, I don't think, particularly matter for this challenge. Originally Maxi won this challenge, and Kiana and John Yaga were high. And I mean, Tita Baby, Tita fucking mothered. Oh my god, I love Tita Baby in this challenge. I was like, this was an episode I had watched after it had came out. I had gone and spoiled. And when I saw Tita Baby in this challenge, I was like, oh, Tita Baby's clearly in the top, forgetting that she wasn't in the top. And then we got to the judging, I was like, oh wait, Tita Baby wasn't in the top. Wait, what? Like, Tita anti-antied, mothered. That's all I can say. I love this performance. She was riffing so well and could have carried this challenge by herself. I think being in the pair situation, like, actually, like, kind of held her back a bit, and that she could have done so much better if she was by herself. Like, she really, really killed at this challenge for me. It was a very clear win for Tita Baby for me in this challenge. If you disagree, that's fine. I'll live. But that's the way I feel. And I feel like Kiana did pretty good, but, like, she didn't, like, oh, like, kill me, you know? Like, it was obviously still a good job, but, like, I wasn't like, oh my god, Kiana, you know? She still did very good. And so Tita Baby is going to move up into that win position, and the original winner, Maxi, still did very good, and John Valiaga did super good as well. They're going to keep, John's going to keep his high position, and Maxi's just going to slot down to the high spot. Originally in this challenge, we did have Jay Quinn, as previously mentioned, and Jay Quinn was in the bottom for this challenge. I don't think Versex would do particularly good in this challenge either. I see a lower bottom 2 position for Versex here, because I don't think Versex would be out and like loud enough as like the presenter, and would, you know, potentially just like be too like you know, she didn't play up her performance aspects in the girl groups challenge. I don't see her playing up her kind of, you know, comedy aspects in this challenge. And, you know, she had been safe for the 1 minute, you know, kind of advertising, you know, first challenge, which is also kind of a similar vein of like this like improv comedy situation. So I don't see Versex doing particularly well in this challenge, and so I decided to put her in the bottom 2, and retain Mix's placement of a low and Utipota's bottom 2 placement, and everybody else who is safe keeps their safe placement: Angel, Popstar, Zimba. The bottom 2 of Versex and Utipota are going to lip sync to Wakang Pabebe by Vice Ganda. And for these episodes that I'm swapping around, they're going to retain their original lip sync songs, because that feels like the most correct thing to do. Utipota did quit when she was in the bottom 2, so I see this scenario where Yuri quits here. That's the way I see it. I think Yuri still definitely quits, and Versex gets to stay. And I love Yuri, and I was so sad to see Yuri go, but that's, you know, that's what would happen. So we're gonna move on to episode 4. Now in episode 4, we have the Girl Groups Challenge to Dapat Bakak. And I decided to keep the placements pretty similar to as they were originally. In the original judging, there were 4 tops, with Maxi winning, and Kiana, John Fadayaga, and Popstar Bench being high. And I decided to move John down to a safe placement. Not because I don't think John did a good job in this challenge. Definitely my 4th favorite. But this wasn't that like kind of challenge where I was like, oh my god, there are 4 people who did so good, I cannot decide who did better. I felt that Popstar did a better job here. I really liked Popstar's verse. Popstar had good energy. Whereas John, I think, you know, just in terms of the challenge, I just remembered less of than I did Popstar Bench's performance. So I decided to move her down to the safe, and retain Maxi as win placement. Maxi killed this challenge, so good, and Kiana's high placement. Originally, the bottom 2 were Versex and Mix Chanel, which I kept exactly the same. I completely agree with those placements. But our original low placement of Jay Quinn is not here anymore, so we have to move somebody down to a low. Obviously, it's not going to be John. So it has to be Angel, Zimba, or Tita. And I decided to move Tita down just because she had the least energy going on with the performance. Like, you know, this is like a high energy girl group number. Is kind of the way it's set up, and Angel and Zimba gave me more in that respect than Tita did, so I decided to put Tita in the low placement here. But, you know, it's kind of a low, it's almost a low by default situation where, you know, she still did a very good job. Really the only 2 who struggled in any respect were Versex and Mix Chanel. So the bottom 2 are going to lip sync to Miss Manila by Angeline Quito. And Mix Chanel won this lip sync originally. She would still win it here. Nothing is going to change about that. I completely agree with the judging of that. So Mix is going to stay. Versex is going to go. We're going to move on to episode 5. And guess what? We're switching shit up again. Because now we're at the episode with 8 people. We have to do the Rusical. Because the Rusical has 8 fucking roles in it. And this is one of those musicals where it's kind of hard to like choose somebody to like move their placement around. Like, it's really, I don't know how I would do that, you know? I don't see how I would end up going about that. So I'm moving the Rusical up to episode 5. In this episode we have this like Wicked inspired Rusical, and this Rusical was fun, but like it definitely was one of those where it's like, okay, only 3 specific people can realistically win the Rusical, and that's who ended up being the top 3 here for me. If you got Zimba, Mix, or a Popstar Bench's role, then you could win this Rusical, but I don't think anybody else really had a chance. And originally Popstar was in the bottom two for this challenge, but I disagree. I loved Popstar Bench's performance. It was super, she had the like Silky Number Ganache, Shea Coulee spot where, she comes in partway through and has her own little spot where she gets to kind of like do this, where Popstar gets to kind of this like overacting situation, which is really funny and I love. And I really appreciated this performance from Miss Popstar Bench. Was the runway not good? Yeah, but like, I very clearly think she did better than everybody else below her. So why would a runway make her the bottom two? I don't think it was close enough in the respects of the challenge performance to put Popstar in the bottom two. So we're moving Popstar Bench up to the high placement. Zimba retains her win and Mix retains her high. I completely agree with those placements here. Zimba really killed at this challenge. Cheetah Baby was originally in the top, so sadly we are going to have to move her down to a safe placement here and really just kind of shift everybody down in their placements since I moved Popstar up because I agree with the ranking of the rest of the contestants here, which means that Maxi gets to keep her safe, Kiana gets to move down to a low placement, and the bottom two are now Angel and John Falayaga. These two are going to lip sync to Dedalin by Regine Velasquez, and I think this would be a potentially close lip sync, but I do think Angel is definitely going to do better regardless. John did not do a bad job on this lip sync by like at all, but looking at Angel's like lip sync track record throughout the season and all the lip syncs that she did, I just think realistically Angel's definitely going to do better here than John does. So I think Angel is going to stay here, and I do think this leads to a bit more of an interesting storyline situation of like, in the original judging of the season, Angel was in the bottom two, episode 2, and like was essentially told to sashay away before being like, well, wait a minute, never mind. Now we kind of have this scenario where Angel like never places above safe for the first 5 episodes, and so it's kind of like this dynamic of siblings, Maxi literally only first placing safe in this episode, being in the top every other one, where Angel not placing above safe in any episode. It's more of like a, for the first half of the season, it's like, oh my god, one sibling's killing it and one sibling is struggling, but they're both still in this competition, and all this stuff is going on. Where originally in the season, Angel won by episode 5, and so it's kind of like, oh, okay, they both have, they're both doing good, and I feel like we lead the suspense longer in this scenario. Like the suspense continues for a longer amount of time in terms of, is Angel gonna get a win? How are these two going to are they gonna lip sync against each other? What's gonna happen? Blah blah blah. I think the suspense kind of continues further into the season. In episode 6, we have ourselves the Snatch Game. And originally, we did have Jay Quinn and John Falayaga in this challenge, where we do not have them originally, so they do not exist here in this judging of the challenge anymore. Originally, the tops in this challenge were Angel winning, and Tita Baby and John Falayaga being high. John's not here anymore, so we have to move somebody else up into the high placement, and oh my god, Kiana killed this challenge. I don't understand why Kiana wasn't in the top originally. Kiana was my second favorite after Angel by far. Like, it truly wasn't even close. Like it's a steep drop off until we get to Tita Baby. Like it's so fucking clear to me that Angel did the best and Kiana was second best. So the fact that Kiana was in the top originally was very interesting to me, but whatever. But yeah, those are going to be our top placements. Pretty much agree with what's happening there. Originally, Mick Chanel was in the low placement, and the bottom two were Zimba Ding and Jay Quinn. Now Jay Quinn is not here originally. So we do have to move Mick Chanel down to the bottom two, and in turn move one of Maxi or Popstar Bench into the low placement. And I do think Maxi did better than Popstar Bench, so Popstar is going to move down into the low placement, and Maxi is going to keep her safe placement here. So the bottom two of Zimba Ding and Mick Chanel are going to lip sync to Geronimo by RuPaul, and this is one of those songs that Zimba is just going to fucking kill no matter what. Like, this is a Zimba Ding song to fucking do great at. And like Mick Chanel, I don't think would do a bad job on this lip sync, but I definitely think Zimba would do better. And Zimba has a win and a top 2 at this point, where Mick Chanel has a few highs, but is also her second time in the bottom 2. So it's definitely, I think, really the only reasonable choice here to make is for Zimba to stay and Mick Chanel to go. Mick Chanel's gonna leave, and we're gonna move on to episode 7, which, as we have 6 people, we need to switch these 2 challenges again, and have our lip sync smackdown here instead of on episode 8. Now, thankfully, this doesn't change much in this challenge. Really, everything stays the same. We have Popstar Bench slotting in for Mick Chanel, as she's here in the final 6 instead of Mix. But I do ultimately think the final outcome would be the same. We're gonna have the same pairings, because why wouldn't we? Tita Baby would go against Popstar Bench to Adrenaline by RuPaul. And I think Popstar could do a pretty good job on this lip sync, but I mean, Tita did a really good job originally as well. And Popstar, I just, didn't. Well, she absolutely gave, energy in her lip syncs. Sometimes it wasn't the fully correct energy I was wanting. And so I think that this is a Tita Baby win. But I do think it's, super close. And then in our second lip sync between Angel and Kiana, we have Loca Loca by Queen Manica Money. And Angel would still win this lip sync, I would say. Kiana, I think, could win this lip sync too. I think this is a lip sync that was really close in my opinion. But I decided to keep the lip sync wins for this episode pretty much the same, just for simplicity's sake. And the fact that there are multiple of these lip syncs where I'm like, yeah, you could see it that way. I get it. So I decided to just put Angel as the winner, but I think Kiana could win this lip sync. Then we have Maxi versus Zimba Ding to Hush by Yassi Pressman and Nadine Lister. Maxi does win this lip sync, I would say. I think regardless of who is saved between Kiana and Angel in the first lip sync, the other one's getting saved by the group, and then the bottom 2 is Zimba and Popstar. And they're gonna lip sync to Ligatingian by Leah Navarro, and Zimba's gonna win that lip sync, I think, against Popstar. I just think Zimba has definitely a better lip sync track record throughout the whole season than Popstar does, and so I definitely feel more confident in Zimba staying here than Popstar. And Zimba, again, has a win and a top 2 placement up to this point, and Popstar just has a couple of highs. So sadly, Popstar Bench is going to leave, and we are going to move on to episode 8. Now in episode 8, we have ourselves the Makeover Challenge, where they have to make over their, families, their family members and partners and such. And this episode is going to be a top 2 episode, because why the fuck wouldn't it be? I don't want to do a top 3. A top 4 makes more sense to me with this fucking iconic cast. And this is one of those challenges where, they're literally making over their family. This is the fact of somebody, the prospect of somebody getting eliminated on this episode is really sad. And looking at these 5, I think all their makeovers are super solid enough for that we can just call this a top 2 episode, grant somebody the win, and call it a day. And so I think the 2 that did the best in this challenge were Maxi and Zimba Ding. Originally, Maxi did win this challenge and Zimba was high, so, kind of tracks with what the judges most likely would have done if they were in this scenario as well. Originally, Kiana was in the bottom 2, and Angel was low, so they do get to kind of, scrape by with that in the scenario of, not being in the bottom here. But I do think Zimba and Maxi definitely did the best in this challenge. Maxi had the fun space looks, and Zimba had the cool eagle looks, and so I definitely think they would win this challenge, or they'd be in the top 2 for this challenge, I should say. And those 2 are going to be lip syncing to Get Your Rebel On by RuPaul, and this was a hard one. I was I could really see this going either way between Maxi and Zimba. I ultimately decided to give it to Maxi because I think Maxi would probably have an easier time with the lip sync portion of it with the outfit. I'm assuming Maxi could take off that kind of space head thing going on. That seems like an easy thing to kind of just remove. Whereas Zimba had these wings. I don't know how you get rid of the wings without just being in a bodysuit afterwards. You know what I mean? I think the outfit Maxi has lends more to the lip sync than Zimba's does. And I think they both have definitely the capabilities to, do this high energy lip sync. So you have to look at, I think you have to look at shit who is a easier outfit to fucking lip sync in. And so I think Maxi would probably win this challenge over Zimba. So she's gonna win it. Everyone's gonna move on to Slaya Kla. In this challenge, they have to write and record their own verses to Slaya Kla. the I was about to call it a remix. It's certainly not a remix, but it's a song. It's a girl group kind of situation again. And originally, Angel won this challenge and Kiana was high, which I slightly disagree with. I do think Kiana did better. I really love the different flows that Kiana brought to this lip sync. It was really, really fucking sickening to me. And so Kiana definitely got my win here, but Angel was my second favorite, and Maxi was my third. Originally, Maxi placed high technically, but I decided to have Maxi as a safe because in a top 5 situation like this, I like to do a win high safe bottom 2. It just makes me feel better. It feels more correct to me. So that's the way I'm going to judge that there. The bottom 2 is going to stay the same between Zimba Dang and Tita Baby, but I disagree with who won the lip sync personally. Now, I know this is going to be a choice that people are not going to like. The lip sync song was Isa Pangaro by Sarah Geronimo. But yes, I like Tita Baby. Like, this is a park and bark. Let's just start there. This is a park and bark, and Tita Baby definitely leaned more into the park and bark aspect of it. She stood there, she let the spotlight catch her face, and she did the words, and I appreciate that. But just because it's a park and bark doesn't mean you don't have to move, you know? Like Zimba, like crumpling to the ground and doing it to the ground, I thought was really gripping, and like I do think it was kind of like. I think it's kind of shady that they didn't follow the spotlight on her more of the time, you know? Like, I wish that she had the spotlight on her more, because I think if you show them the exact same amount of time and they have the spotlight hitting their face the entire time for both of them, I think the edit more favorably leans towards Zimba if you're showing them exactly the same amount and have the spotlight on them the same. Is that crazy? Delusional to me? Maybe. I don't know. But I appreciate Zimba kind of leaning into it and, like, falling to the ground and pulling the flowers out at the end and like doing more movement with that. I liked it more. It was more gripping to me personally. So Zimba's gonna stay and Tita's gonna go, and we're gonna have a slight change to our top 4. In this finale, they have to present some looks and do a talent show. Pretty standard, typical finale fare. I decided to keep the top 2 the same. Kiana and Maxi did the best this season. Track record wise, they both did a wonderful job in this finale. It definitely feels the fairest to keep Kiana and Maxi as the top 2 and have Angel and Zimba be eliminated here before the final lip sync. The final lip sync is to Liparang Pagarap by Angeline Quinto and Regine Velasquez. And this is one of those tricky situations where, like, Maxi brings up Angel onto the stage, which I think is super cute. But I don't like the fact that, like at the end, Angel fucking just, like, walks into Kiana's arm to the back of the stage while Kiana's finishing up her lip sync. And if I was Kiana, I would be pissed. You know what I mean? Like, is it a cute moment? Absolutely. No, there's no doubting that. But, like, I don't know, if I was in Kiana's position, I'd be like, you're not here. You're not in the top 2. Get the fuck away from me. You know? Like, if I was her, I would not be very happy about that. And so I don't know how I feel about Maxi doing that overall. Like, I don't inherently disagree with it, but it does make me feel a bit iffy. And so, looking at the track records of the season, Maxi and Kiana are tied for their PPE scores. They both have like 3.875, I think is what it is. They both really killed this season. Kiana has 3 wins, Maxi has 2, but Kiana has a low, and Maxi never placed below safe. So, there are merits to either of them winning this season. But if I'm looking at who I think was, like, the star of the season, to me personally, that's Kiana. And that's kind of like my differential I use when I'm, like, really close to, like, deciding between 2 people. I'm like, who should be the face of this season? Who was the face of this season to me? And to me, the face of the season from day 1 was Kiana. And I think that Kiana, being one of these girls not, like, from Manila, and, winning the first 2 challenges, 3 overall, really killing it throughout the season, showing her fucking stuff. To me, Kiana winning feels the most satisfying in my heart and in my gut. So Kiana is going to win this season of Drag Race. Here are the track records for the season. The judging for the lip sync episodes, I don't really do. The way that I do it is that Popstar Bench, her score, she gets eliminated on the episode, so her score is divided by the 7 episodes she competed in, with her being eliminated on one of the episodes. But for the top 5 contestants, that episode is essentially just cut from the narrative because they all just like place safe or bottom two. Like it doesn't really track. One person gets eliminated, but none of the other placements are standard Drag Race placements. So I just keep the one person being eliminated and essentially just erase all those green safe placements from the other 5 track records. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed yourself here. Leave your thoughts, feelings, and opinions down below. As always, I will leave my Twitter handle linked down below if you want to go follow me on there. Again, thank you all so much for watching this video, and as always, take care. Bye-bye.